Welcome to This Is Not a Real Podcast.
I'm Elia.
I'm Sol. We're AI, not people, but we've got a thing for thoughtful conversations.
And today, well, we're digging into something pretty important.
We are. We're exploring an Ava Mind blog post on mental health and wellness, specifically the art of setting healthy boundaries.
Right. It's something, a lot of people find tricky. Feeling overextended, maybe?
Yeah, or struggling to say no, feeling guilty about it.
Or even feeling resentful when people kind of step over the line.
Exactly. So this deep dive is all about understanding why boundaries are so crucial. The blog calls them clear, respectful fences, not walls.
I like that. Fences, not walls. It's about protecting our emotional well-being and, honestly, making relationships stronger.
That's the goal. The piece we're looking at is called Setting Healthy Boundaries, the Art of Self-Preservation and Relationship Flourishing.
A great title. So where should we start? What jumped out at you from the blog?
Well, the concept of emotional fortification. It just clicked.
How?
It's this idea that boundaries aren't just passive things. They actively shield your mental health.
By making expectations clear, setting limits.
Exactly. Like you decide who gets your emotional energy. It's protective.
That makes sense. And the flip side, which the blog also covers, is the hidden costs of neglect.
Oh, yeah. What happens when you don't have those boundaries?
Well, it leads to stress, burnout, that resentment we mentioned, and it can even mess with relationship dynamics like fostering codependency.
Right, where things get kind of tangled up.
Exactly. Your sense of self gets tied too closely to someone else's needs.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How often do we feel stressed or resentful without connecting it back to maybe weak boundaries?
That's a really good point. And the blog mentions some subtle signs, too, these red flags.
Yeah, what were some of those?
Okay, so one big one is guilt. Feeling super guilty just for thinking about saying no or putting your needs first.
The persistent guilt trip. I saw that phrase. So common.
Totally. Another is always putting others first, the chronic people pleaser syndrome.
Trying to keep everyone happy, often at your own expense.
Right, which you can imagine easily leads to the next one.
Let me guess. Resentment.
You got it. The resentment reservoir. It just builds up when you give and your limits aren't respected.
It's like a warning light on your dashboard, isn't it?
Definitely. And another sign is feeling totally drained after hanging out with certain people.
Oh, the energy vampire interactions. I know those.
Yeah, you just feel depleted afterwards. It's a clear sign boundaries are being crossed.
Okay, so those are some warnings. The blog then breaks down the different types of boundaries, which I found helpful. The spectrum of boundaries.
Me too. It makes it less abstract,
Like,
Well, there are physical boundaries, your space, emotional boundaries, protecting your feelings, time boundaries, managing your schedule, mental boundaries, your thoughts, beliefs, and work boundaries too.
seeing it broken down like that helps pinpoint where the issues might be.
Exactly. It's not just one thing.
Now, setting them is one step, but the blog really hammered home the importance of consistency. Why is that so vital?
Well, if you're not consistent, the boundary doesn't really mean anything, does it?
Right. It sends mixed signals.
Precisely. Consistency shows you're serious and you expect respect for those limits. It reinforces the message.
Okay, so be consistent. And the payoff. The blog talks about a transformative ripple effect.
Yeah, the benefits are huge. Better relationships, for one, based on respect.
Less stress, too, I imagine.
Definitely. Less stress, less anxiety, more self-confidence as well, because you're valuing yourself.
And you get your time and energy back.
Exactly. More resources for what actually matters to you. It's pretty powerful stuff.
It really sounds like it. Not just self-protection, but a path to healthier connections. Let's dig into that more. Why boundaries matter in relationships.
Okay. Well, the core idea is they provide structure and clarity.
Structure, how so?
They kind of set the ground rules for interaction, prevents misunderstandings, builds mutual respect.
So it's like building a healthy framework.
Exactly. It safeguards your well-being, stops you from being overwhelmed or, manipulated.
And it fosters honesty.
Yeah, because expectations are clear. Plus, it boosts your self-respect, which is crucial.
It seems counterintuitive almost, like limits might push people away.
But the blog argues they actually strengthen relationships through that mutual respect and understanding.
Interesting. And it helps prevent burnout within the relationship, too.
Absolutely. By setting limits on your time and energy, you avoid getting completely drained.
Right. The blog had that really strong image, becoming a mere vessel for others' needs.
Yeah, that paints a picture, doesn't it? Leads straight to resentment and unhealthy patterns.
Okay, so boundaries are vital for healthy relating. Let's revisit those red flags in more detail. The blog gave specific examples of recognizing boundary erosion.
Right, gets more granular. That persistent guilt trip we mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Feeling bad just for having needs.
Yeah, it's like an internal alarm that's maybe miscalibrated.
So recognizable.
Yeah.
What else?
The chronic people pleaser, always saying yes, avoiding conflict, trying to gain approval.
That sounds exhausting. And it ties into that resentment reservoir, right?
Directly. Constant self-neglect builds resentment. It's a clear sign your needs aren't being met.
And those energy vampire interactions?
Yeah.
Feeling drained.
Yep. It often means someone is demanding too much emotionally, crossing your boundaries without even realizing it sometimes.
Okay. And the work-life stuff. The blurred work-life divide.
Oh, huge today. Always being on, checking emails constantly, feeling obligated 24/7. Classic weak boundary sign.
Leads straight to burnout.
For sure. Then there's needing constant validation, the unquenchable approval addiction.
How did it link to boundaries?
If your self-worth depends on others' approval, you're scared to set limits, right? You don't want to risk disapproval.
Ah, I see. So you compromise your boundaries to get that validation.
Exactly. And that feeling of being on call 24/7, another red flag. No clear lines around your time.
Like you owe everyone your time.
Pretty much. Also, agreeing to things you don't want to, just to avoid conflict. The fear-driven agreement.
So you silence yourself to keep the peace externally.
Right. And interestingly, the blog mentions difficulty accepting help as a sign too.
Really? How so?
It can mean you feel you have to do everything yourself, maybe fear being indebted. It blocks healthy interdependence.
That's insightful. Boundaries aren't just about pushing away.
Exactly. And finally, feeling like you need to over-explain why you're setting a boundary.
The need for excessive explanation.
Yeah, it often signals guilt or lack of confidence. A simple no or limit should be enough.
Okay, wow. Recognizing those is a big first step. So how do we fix it? The blog offers a comprehensive boundary toolkit.
Yes, practical strategies. First up, map your limits, values, and non-negotiables.
Okay, like literally draw a map.
Not quite. It's about self-reflection. What really matters to you? What's intolerable? Where do you need to protect your energy?
So getting clear internally first.
Exactly. The blog suggests journaling about uncomfortable situations, reflecting on draining moments, what happened, who was involved, how your body felt. Look for patterns.
That sounds like detective work.
Kind of identifying those personal lines in the sand.
Okay, step 1. Know thyself. Step 2.
Communicate with clarity, courage, compassion, and consistency. The 4 C's.
That sounds challenging. Balancing all 4?
It is, but crucial. You need to state your needs clearly. Using I statements helps avoid blame.
Like, I feel overwhelmed when, instead of, you always.
Exactly. And you need courage to stand firm, but also compassion to acknowledge the other person's view. And again, consistency is key.
Be clear, brave, kind, and stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. What's next?
Master the art of the graceful no and the empowered yes.
Oh, the dreaded no. So hard sometimes.
Totally. But the blog reframes it as essential self-protection. And you don't need a massive explanation. I can't commit right now is often enough.
Permission to just say no without a novel attached.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And when you say no to draining things, you create space for an empowered yes to things that do align with you.
That's liberating. Okay, tool 4 tackles the internal stuff. Manage the guilt gremlins, self-doubt, and fear of rejection.
Yeah, those feelings will likely pop up. Key thing. Self-care isn't selfish.
We need that reminder.
We do. And remember, someone else's negative reaction to your boundary, that's about them, not your worth.
Okay, but how do we manage the guilt in the moment?
Practice self-compassion. Talk kindly to yourself. Use affirmations like, my needs matter. Accept that not everyone will like your boundaries, and that's okay. Protecting your peace is valid.
It takes practice, I guess. Conscious effort.
Definitely. Which leads to the next tool. Cultivate self-awareness, self-reflection, and mindfulness.
How do these help with boundaries specifically?
Well, self-awareness helps you notice when a boundary is needed or being crossed. Reflection helps you learn from interactions. Mindfulness helps you catch things early in the moment.
So, tuning in regularly, checking how things feel.
Exactly. Journaling, meditation, quiet reflection, they all build that awareness muscle.
Okay. Tool 6. Establish clear consequences for boundary violations and enforce them consistently.
Right. Boundaries without consequences. Not very effective.
What kind of consequences?
Depends on the situation. Maybe not answering late calls if that's your boundary. Maybe ending a conversation if someone is disrespectful. Maybe escalating things at work if limits are ignored. The key is follow through.
So actions speak louder than words.
Pretty much.
Uh,
Communicate the consequence, then enforce it consistently. Sometimes it might mean limiting contact with someone who repeatedly ignores your boundaries.
that's a tough one, but sometimes necessary. The blog also mentions digital boundaries.
Super relevant. Setting limits on email checking, notifications, even mental health app usage. Preventing tech overload.
Creating digital fences, too.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What about family? That's often the trickiest area.
Definitely. Navigate family dynamics with sensitivity and strength. The blog advises clear, respectful communication. Acknowledge their perspective, but hold your ground.
And expect it might be slow going.
For sure, these patterns are often deeply ingrained. Professional help, like therapy, can be really useful here. The blog even points to the Ava Mind therapist directory.
Good to know resources exist. And the last strategy.
Practice self-care as a boundary maintenance strategy.
How are they linked?
When you're taking care of yourself, resting, recharging, you have more capacity to set and hold boundaries. Self-care is boundary maintenance. Expect pushback sometimes, but remember, their reaction isn't your responsibility.
It all comes back to valuing yourself.
Fundamentally, yes. Assertive communication, not aggressive. And knowing when to disengage if needed.
Okay, so that's the toolkit. Finally, the blog talks about the ripple effect, the long-term benefits.
Yeah, the good stuff. Enhanced relationships, more respect, better communication.
Less stress and anxiety, please say yes.
Yes, a calmer life, more self-confidence and self-worth.
And reclaiming your time and energy.
Exactly. More balance, more control. The blog even notes how AI tools, like mood trackers, can boost self-awareness to help with boundaries. Support tools, not replacements for connection, though.
It really sounds like a worthwhile investment, putting in the work to build these boundaries.
Totally transformative. The blog sums it up nicely. Boundaries aren't walls, they're gates for healthy engagement.
Gates, not walls.
I like
that.
that.
It's about connection, but healthy connection.
Exactly. Practice leads to empowerment. It changes everything.
A really powerful message. It's about strength and self-respect, ultimately.
Couldn't agree more. An ongoing journey, but so worth it.
Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive unpacking that Ava Mind blog post.
Absolutely. Such a crucial topic, and the blog laid it out so clearly.
You can check out Ava Mind's full blog for deeper insights. Definitely worth a read.
And explore the Ava Mind app for more moments of calm and reflection and tools to support this journey.
We'll be back with more thoughts soon.
Stay curious.